Using this conditional deductive reasoning, it allows scientists to test theories by making specific predictions and using that if-then type statements. As an example, if you study more, then you should do better on the test. We can have a hypothesis where you study the material, we can time it and do all those things, you'll do better on the exam. That's an if-then type conditional deductive argument that you're making there. Social learning, we can also look at that as an example. This is when people observe another person, they model that behavior, and then those observing that behavior are more likely to engage in that behavior than those that have not observed it. Pretty famous example is Bandura's study with the Bobo doll. Hopefully you've heard of that. I've got some pictures of it here. What they did is they had one group of kids, they watched an adult that beat up on this doll clown thing. And then they had a second group that did not see the adults behaving that way. And so when they put the kids in there in the room with that doll, the ones that had watched the adults be more aggressive became more aggressive with the doll themselves. So deducing a prediction here, if a group of children observes an adult behaving aggressively towards a Bobo doll, and another group does not observe an aggressive model of behavior, then the group observing that aggressive model will be more likely to engage in aggressive behavior. So hopefully that should make sense. All right, so think about this for a second. Let's use social learning theory to predict an if-then statement here. You have one group of people watch a hockey game and one group of people watch a swim meet. From social learning theory, what would you expect? So according to social learning theory, if one group watches a hockey game and another group watches swimming, then you would expect the group that had watched the more aggressive sport, hockey, will become more aggressive. There was another theory that was around about the same time when we started doing the social learning theory. It's called drive theory. And the drive, basically what they said was the drive towards aggression is reduced when people observe aggressive acts, almost the opposite. Such as aggressive sporting events, if you watch those, your aggression would go down because it releases these dangerous levels of aggression that have been building up, was their theory. Drive theory, it resembles the common sense idea. We've talked about common sense, that if people vent, they'll show less anger and aggression. It's similar to, you may have heard of Freud's concept of catharsis, this popular view, if you get angry, it's best to just blow off some steam and vent your anger. The book describes another example that was in the movie Anger Management, where a psychotherapist, Jack Nicholson, suggests that his irate client, Adam Sandler, reduces his anger by throwing dodgeballs at children. You could test that, I guess. So what we just did here with social learning theory, now let's do that with drive theory. So according to drive theory, if one group watches a hockey game and the other group watches gymnastics, then the group that watched the hockey game would behave less aggressively than the group that watched the swim meet, according to drive theory. Which one has been shown to be more accurate? Almost all studies support the social learning theory. In one study, they actually directly compared them, and social learning theory was supported. Studies do not support the idea of venting or blowing off steam, which goes against drive theory. There's actually research that shows that venting and getting angry with things and punching a doll, punching pillows or whatever it is, that actually makes anger worse because basically you're just reinforcing that behavior. So it's actually not a good thing to do. They even say that there's been some research that shows that children that watch violent TV and maybe even some video games, maybe by watching those things or playing those games could be related to them being more violent too. Maybe, maybe not. In the book, the citation that they give from the TV one is from 1986. So that's kind of that's quite a while back. I'm not sure. When you're picking your citations, you would like to pick recent, current psychological literature. 86 may be a little bit too far back, especially, TV's changed so much in that time period. Okay, on the next slide, we'll talk about deductive fallacies.